Hello everyone, is NTG Nerds United, or Delectable as they call me on Tapped Out, or Jake as they call me everywhere else. So, I have another deck tech for you guys here today. It is the deck that I'm going to be facing off against Glistener Agent. He is going to be running Scapeshift, and I'm going to be running a Poor Man's Modern, Mono Green Dudes. So, this is basically a Mono Green aggro deck, very quick, very cheap. It is, I believe, about $85. Yep, so you can build this for very cheap, and it is actually very effective. You'd be surprised at how in Modern, this deck full of so many combo decks, so many control decks, fancy, just so much complicated interactions going on, what just a beater deck can do. So let's take a look at the deck. It is fairly simple. The name of the game is just simply value, or being good on the curve. So first off, we have our 1-drops. We have 4 Dryad Militant, a 2-1 for 1 that's gets rid of any graveyard interaction. So this messes up any Snapcaster shenanigans or anything like that. Then we have 4 Experiment 1. So this only gets bigger as the game goes on. It's a 1-1 with Evolve. So every time a creature with bigger power or toughness comes into battlefield, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And we can remove 2 counters from Experiment 1 to regenerate it. So that is really awesome. Our 2-drops, we have 2 Garrick's Companion. It is a 2-drop with Trample on a 3/2 body. Very simple, very good, very powerful. And then we have 4 Colonian Tusker, another 2-drop for a 3/3. That's it. Good on the curve, very aggressive, very powerful. We have one more 2-drop. We have 4 Stranglebrook Geist. It is a 2-1 with Haste and Undying. So whenever this dies, it comes back with a 3. It comes back as a 3/2 with a +1/+1 counter on it. And so yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then we have our 3-drops, which we will start with Leatherback Baloth. So he is just a 4/5 on a 3-costing body. Again, very good on the curve, very powerful, very awesome. Next, we have 4 Wolfear Avenger. So this is just a 3/3 for 3, which doesn't sound great, but then it has Flash. So we can flash it in during their combat stage at the end of their turn, and you can pay 1 in the green to regenerate it, so that is really awesome. And finally, we have our 4-drops, which is 2 Thrun the Last Troll. 2 double green for a 4/4 that cannot be countered, and cannot be the target of spells or abilities our opponent controls, and we can pay 1 in the green to regenerate. So this is one of the most just resilient creatures in Modern. So that is our creature base. Value is the name of the game, very strong, very powerful, very aggressive. And then moving on, we have just our non-creatures in the main board. We have 4 Vines of Vastwood. It costs 1, but we'll usually be paying it for 2. It has Kicker for green. It says, target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. If Vines of Vastwood was kicked, that creature gets +4/+4 until the end of turn. So this can be used in a variety of ways. This can be used as a finisher to push through that last bit of damage. It can be used as in response to a removal spell. It's just a very good card in this deck. And finally, we have 4 Rancor. Single green, enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and trample, and whenever it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to its owner's hand. Very, very, very good card. Helps us push through damage. Very aggressive, very awesome. So that's our main board. Very simple, very powerful, very good. Moving on to our sideboard, we have 3 Choke, which will be good in this matchup we're about to play. Costs 2 in the green for an enchantment. Islands don't untap during the controller's untap step. This really screws over most control decks, and it's just a good way of being a dick. Then we have 2 Creeping Corrosion. This is for affinity matchups. 2 double green to destroy all artifacts. Awesome. We have 1 Graph Digger's Cage. This is just further graveyard hate in addition to our Dryad Militant. We have 2 Malira Silvok Outcast. 1 in the green for a 2/2. It says you can't get poison counters. Creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters placed on them. And creatures your opponent control lose Infect. So Infect is usually very prevalent at most local game stores. So having this in the sideboard is not a bad idea. Then we have 1 Naturalize, destroy any pesky artifacts or enchantments that we have to deal with. We have 2 Obstinate Baloth, so 2 double green for a 4/4, and when Obstinate Baloth enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. And if a spell or ability an opponent controls causes you to discard Obstinate Baloth, put it onto the battlefield instead of putting it into the graveyard. So this is very good against 8-rack, pretty much any deck running black in Modern, as they'll all be running Thoughtseizes, but they wouldn't choose this to discard. So it's mainly good against 8-rack builds. And then we have 2 Scavenging Ooze, even more graveyard hate, very resilient. Messes with Snapcaster Mage, just all of that stuff. Cost 1 in the green, you can pay 1 to exile a creature from a graveyard, or exile a card from a graveyard, excuse me. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. So this messes with Tarmogoyf and things of that nature. And finally, we have 2 Torpor Orb. 2 creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. So this messes with Snapcaster, this messes with Splinter Twin, just all that kind of stuff. So that is our sideboard. It's a very general sideboard, not tuned for any specific meta, just in general. And it is a very powerful deck, very aggressive deck. If you're looking to get into Modern, this is not a bad way to do it. Obviously, there's places to go. This isn't something I would recommend for the long term, but trying to get into Modern, it is strong, powerful, and very cheap and fun. So I hope you guys like the deck. I encourage you to try to build it and test it out a little bit if you're trying to get into Modern. It helps you see what kind of decks are in the format while not getting completely destroyed. So if you like the deck, make sure to give it a +1 and leave any comments you have below for any suggestions that you have for the deck. And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do that. See more content and gameplay like I'm about to play that you can hop on over to the video, as that's about to be uploaded right after this. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. I will see you later.